This is Kinda Murdery Season 1, Ghost Towns of the Mojave Desert, presented by Criminal Content.
You're rocketing down the 15 freeway between Vegas and LA. It's a scorched wasteland of Airstream meth labs and unrelenting heat. This is no place you'd want to stop. But the car's on fumes, so you take the exit and you pull up to the gas station. It's abandoned, a concrete canvas that some local Michelangelos turned into the Sistine Chapel of spray paint penis. A grave marker for every crazy story lost in the desert sands. These are the ghost towns of the Mojave Desert. And this is Kinda Murdery. Hey everybody, and welcome to Kinda Murdery Season 1, Ghost Towns of the Mojave Desert. I'm your host, Zevon Odelberg. Thanks for deciding to be here. Today we explore the town of Neenach, California. Located in the Antelope Valley, 30 miles west of Lancaster, just off the 138 and only 75 miles north of Los Angeles, there's a ghostly community that as early as the 1820s was dubbed Cow Springs and used as a way station for anyone traveling from northern to southern California. Cow Springs became Neenach in 1888 when a group of Danes from Neenach, Wisconsin settled there. Today's Neenach is home to around 800 people. Its one school was built in the 1990s, but the town's total lack of natural gas lines meant that by 2001, electric winter heating costs were prohibitive for the only 66 remaining students, leading the school to close that year. Neenachers, however, refused to kowtow, defying the relentless entropy of the surrounding desert by maintaining the now-abandoned, pale pink and nearly deco schoolhouse in its pristine condition, despite its standing empty now for 2 full decades. Neenach itself is famous for half a volcano. What's half a volcano, you ask? Well, exactly, literally, that. The extinct Neenach volcano formed atop the San Andreas Fault and was split in half by a massive earthquake 23 million years ago. Ever since then, like a high schooler whose girlfriend left for college, the two halves of the volcano have been slowly drifting apart. Today, one half sits in Neenach, while the other half is in Pinnacle National Park, over 218 miles north by northwest. And all the while, as the cleaved mountains drifted, Neenachers enjoyed half a volcano and all of an over 200-year history of being kinda murdery.
I don't care what you say, I'm calling that place Cow Springs.
I don't know. I think Neenach is pretty. The Neenachers. I mean that works for me. But yeah, Cow Springs.
Moo baby, moo.
All right. Well, that fine gentleman there is my on-air producer Adam Volrich. How you doing today, Adam?
I'm doing swell. How are you, man?
I am well.
All right. I think today I'm going to be the Clark to your Rogers, and that is a reference for about 3 people.
Yeah, fill me in.
Yeah, me too.
That is the musical duo played by Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty in the film Ishtar.
Ooh.
Oh my, that's
obscure beyond capacity, I think.
But here's the thing, it shouldn't be, and that's what we're doing today.
Here on Kinda Murdery, I'm going to call that a razor-sharp knife because, Adam, that was a deep cut, and it hurt.
Oh, man.
All right. I am dad jokes from the top, baby. I'm also here with Sean Christensen and Brendan Hubbard from Criminal Content.
Hello, sir.
And of course, I am here with the brilliant and hilarious host of the podcast Lizard People and member of the Upright Citizens Brigade. It's comedian Katelyn Hempstead. Hey, Katelyn, how you doing today?
Hi. I'm thriving. I'm thrilled to be here. Also, just real quick, weren't Rogers and Clark partners before Rogers and Hammerstein? Isn't that how it worked out?
And Clark is so pissed about it still.
Yeah, and Clark is like, I can't believe I got left out of like every single pivotal musical of the 1940s. Devastating.
I definitely like this version of the timeline.
He's the Pete Best of musical theater duos, essentially.
Oh, and that's the reference I get.
The original drummer of the Beatles. Sorry.
Okay,
oh, my
great.
gosh. Whoomp. That sound you hear is my jokes falling flat like a body tossed off a second-story
No,
building.
not knowing about the Beatles is on me. The hugest band ever to exist. That's my problem. That's a me thing. You're
Yeah,
doing
but
great.
that was like 100 years ago almost now. So, what are you up to these days? How are you keeping busy? Have any projects you're doing? What's going on with you?
Oh boy, I'm writing lots of spec scripts for free for no one.
We know about that
Nice.
around here.
Yep.
Great times. I did. I've been teaching myself. You know what my big quarantine project is? I'm teaching myself to play the mandolin. One of I play
Whoa,
the
very
world's
cool.
two most annoying instruments. I play the accordion and the mandolin.
Oh my God! But I love
Wow.
Weird Al and I love David Grisman, so I'm all about it. I can't wait
Bingo.
to hear you play.
I started learning the accordion in high school because of Weird Al, and then pretty quickly realized no one ever wants to hear you play the accordion unless you're Weird Al.
Well, I do. Maybe we can have you back for an accordion and mandolin concert at some point. I would love that.
Truly, absolutely not. I don't even
We
want
need
to
a
play
new
along.
theme
I'm
song,
not going to
so.
make your listeners hear that. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, Darren, we're going all accordion now.
If you could come up with a theme song that sounded quote unquote kinda murdery, playing an accordion and a mandolin, I would hail you as a genius from now till kingdom come. I gotta say
I
that.
think you might need a banjoist for that. I think that banjo's the instrument we all associate with menace.
Squeal like a pig, boy! Like that,
Yeah,
like the Deliverance thing. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, if it's just the accordion and the mandolin, we'd have to change the name of the podcast to Kinda Whimsical, and that's a totally different show.
At least it's not a ukulele. That's all I can say.
Kinda Mumfordy. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. God.
Today we're exploring the, I'm going to call it semi-volcanic ghost town of Neenach, California. And taking a quick look at the itinerary here, it's pretty clear that Neenach has plenty of attractions for kind of murdery tourists like us. First story, we're going to be talking about a little-known legend of the American West in a story I'm calling Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan, Pecos Bill, and Helen effing Gookins.
For a second there, I thought you were going to bring in Helen Mirren, and I got really excited.
My girl Gookins. God
Yeah,
bless.
Next up, after Helen effing Gookins, we've got the Ballad of Jerky Johnson. And finally, we're headed all the way back to 1893 for a story that the Los Angeles Herald dubbed The Adventurous Couple. And you know what? As titles go, that's good enough for me.
I feel like that's a euphemism I see
Yeah,
on
it sounds
dating
horny.
apps for looking for a third.
Yeah, polyamory. Yes.
Yeah.
This is an 1893 story of menage a trois and polyamory.
Those Victorians.
Exactly. Oh, they could get up to all kinds of crazy shit, huh?
Wow, I'm intrigued. What kind of adventures?
Oh, I can't wait to tell you. We're headed back to August 1905 for the story of 19-year-old Angora goat farmer Helen Gookins.
My dream. I always say that if I leave LA, I'm going to go be a goat farmer. Oh, Helen.
Yes,
She's
yes.
a perfect life.
And you know what's even better than a snuggly Angora sweater? One that came from the wool sheared off your own goat. That personal connection is everything.
That's what I'm saying. Goat cheese, goat stew. Goats give us so much, and we don't appreciate them.
You know, this came up on your show, Caitlin, but that's kind of like the devil, because have you ever noticed that the goats, they have devil eyes? They really do. Have you ever seen a goat's
True.
eyeball?
Listen, they've got cloven hooves. They've got spooky pupils. It feels very clear to me that for whatever reason, one person was like, I hate goats. They're the epitome of all that's evil, but they're very sweet. They're smarter than most dogs.
Do you want to live deliciously?
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh.
They just want us to live deliciously.
So, she notices over the course of about a month that her goats are just kind of disappearing, her beloved goats. She'll get up one morning, she'll be like, that's another cardigan gone. Damn it. So she kind of wants to figure out why these goats might be disappearing. So she goes out to check her herd, and rather than taking the road, she decides to take a little shortcut through the valley, and she ends up not far away from an abandoned farmhouse where, in fact, she and her mother used to live but do no longer. And she's riding, I should mention, saddleless on the back of a mule.
Hell yeah, Helen.
Whoa.
Side saddle like an Amazon warrior on a mule. That's
Dang.
Helen effing Gookins.
Just shooting arrows out into the desert.
Hell yeah, she is. So here's what happens. She's riding her mule, as you do, and all of a sudden the mule just stops in its tracks and refuses to go any further. And I don't know, have any of you guys ever tried to move a mule that doesn't want to move?
Infamously
I can't
difficult.
say I have.
So she's like, come on, mule, move. And it won't. And she doesn't initially see any reason for its recalcitrance. So Helen, armed not even with a riding whip, and that's what the newspaper felt like pointing that out. I'm not encouraging whipping your beasts of burden or anything like that, but she doesn't
Look, she
even
had a
have
spiritual
whip.
connection with that
Time.
mule. She didn't need it.
Right. Yeah, she did.
She had
did.
ovaries of adamantium. She didn't need weapons.
That's absolutely, by the way, so much better than brass. Adamantium. Absolutely. If you
A
ever,
scientist put them in her, and when she gets mad, they explode out of her body.
That's right.
you ever try to go up against Wolverine with claws of brass, you're sunk, bucko.
That's what I'm saying.
Or bub, I guess, as Wolvie would say. She goes and she starts walking around looking for why can't I move my mule? And she gets a little further down the path, and she sees, crouched in a tree, about to spring on her, a giant mountain lion, a cougar, a wildcat.
Whoa.
So I know what I would do. Yeah.
I'm so worried for her.
So I actually grew up in far northern California in the woods, and we had lots of mountain lions. And what you're actually supposed to do in the case of a lion is stand stock still, raise your hands up above your head to make yourself look as little like a deer as possible, and scream at it. And chances are it'll leave you alone.
That's how I communicate with my cat, actually.
And me with my boyfriend. Ah!
Here's what Helen does. Helen sneaks around the mountain lion, up the hill, so she gets the high ground on it like a total G. Yeah.
Okay.
Then she scoops up a big rock, and with the strength of her strong right arm, she hurls that rock at the lion, brains the motherfucker right in the melon,
Jesus
and
Christ.
knocks it out of the tree.
Oh my god.
What?
I don't understand why she isn't taught in schools. You know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying.
Who
Pecos
cares
Bill,
what
Paul Bunyan,
Thomas
Helen
Jefferson
Gookins.
said? Like, give me Helen Gookins,
Right.
please.
Absolutely. And by the way, reported in the LA Times, so I ain't making this up.
As opposed to all the other stories we tell.
I do make plenty of them up,
Is
but
that
this one
every other episode has just been bullshit?
This is the one time we've told the
2
truth.
out of 3 of these stories are not real.
one of these things is not like the other. Yeah,
What a thing to get
Two truths and
canceled for. It's just making up 200-year-old stories on your podcast.
oh my god.
Without disclaimers.
Okay, so she knocks the mountain lion out of the tree with the rock and onto the ground, and while the lion is momentarily dazed, Helen sprints off for that abandoned farmhouse where she and her mother used to live, and she goes into the shed outside the farmhouse where she finds a pitchfork, a rusty pitchfork missing a prong. So we're talking a 2-pronged trident, a bident, if you will.
A Joe Biden. I think I read.
Beat me to it.
That was the laziest joke I've ever read in my life.
Absolute winner, just like Joe.
Send me to jail.
She runs back to this lion that's still shaking off the fatality she chucked at it with the rock, or the almost fatality, I suppose. I was trying to make a Mortal Kombat joke there, failed. Anyway, so she runs back to the runs back to the lion with this bident and starts and tries to stab it to death in the neck with the rusty pitchfork. But because it's an old rusty pitchfork, it is not sharp enough to stab through the hide of this hardy lion. And Woe is right. So the lion takes a couple swipes at her, rips her long, American Gothic Mormon sister wife skirt to just about shreds.
No.
But she manages to hold the trident, the pitchfork, at the lion's throat to keep it at bay. And force it down a gully, like down a ravine, over the edge of a ravine.
I'm starting to feel bad for the mountain lion, which is not something I expected to feel.
I don't. I don't feel bad.
That guy was just trying to eat. Give the man a goat.
Well, that's
we can't all be super powered, turbocharged murder bots like Helen.
Can't all be She-Hulks like Helen Gookins.
Yeah.
But the thing, he had eaten that mountain lion had gotten a lot of her goats. I mean, Helen had a long fuse. She didn't go off and murder this.
He got her goat.
Didn't murder this lion for the first goat it took. The goats had been disappearing on the regular for about a month before she went to go figure out why.
Wow.
So she pulled a John Wick. She was like, "You've already taken everything from me, and this last goat was just like my breaking point."
That's right. You've frightened my mule instead of stolen my car. You've killed my goat, and I'm gonna straight up John Wick your ass. So she knocks the lion down over a ravine. It tumbles down the ravine up against an old rusty gate. At which point Helen runs down the ravine.
Yes. You don't rest until it's down.
Oh my gosh. I gotta tell this story to my daughter because this is a role model I want her to have. Absolute badass.
Dove down a ravine and was like, "I'm not done murdering for the day."
I'm gonna rip your throat out, bitch. Yeah. Like Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse, just runs up to the line and larynx in her hand, bleeding, blood running down the arm. Yell, Gookins! Yeah. So she runs down there, and this lion's dazed against this old metal gate, where Helen walks up, manages to rip a rusty bar off of the gate. So now she's holding like a huge chunk of rebar, essentially, and then proceeds to beat that lion fully to death, stoving in its skull with this iron gate bar. Like, whap, take that. Take that.
Good Lord.
Eat that. Yeah.
Remind me not to eat any of her goats.
Yeah.
At this point, do you think that Helen was just sort of like, "I need all the other mountain lions to see this"? Was this like it was
She's
long
sending a
past like
message.
revenge? It was like a lesson for every animal.
Absolutely.
All right. So here's what she does. She does, in fact, after having killed this mountain lion, she throws one end of it over the ass of the mule, and she ties its legs up with her lariat because, you don't go out without a lariat.
Yeah, duh.
And she takes the thing back home, and she skins it, and she wears it like a cape, like Hercules, for the rest of her life. All of that was true except for the Hercules cape part. But I like to imagine.
I'm choosing to believe that.
So that is the story of Helen effing Gookins.
Wow. I mean, raise a glass to Helen.
Yes.
So the year is 1892, and infamous rapper Deadshot with a Winchester and officer of the law, Deputy Sheriff Constable John A. Jerky Johnson, is in pursuit of a dogged horse thief. let's see how Jerky handles that rotten cur as we get ready to sing the Ballad of Jerky Johnson.
Did you say infamous rapper?
Yeah, that's what I thought he said.
Infamous trapper. Infamous trapper.
I was going to say, drop the SoundCloud link in the show notes.
I thought you said rapper, yeah.
Yeah, what if he had invented the
had a whole
art
vision
of
of it.
rapping?
Yeah, he had a
In
giant...
1892.
Well, my name is Jerky Johnson, and I'm here to say I like to rap in an Old West way, is what I imagine it was like.
Move over, Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a giant pocket watch around his neck and a broken arm. Yeah. All right. So you might wonder why a man with a nice name like John A. Ends up being known as Jerky Johnson. Well, it's because he was in fact known, and this is not my turn of phrase. This is how he is described. He was known for jerking his meat in the shadow of a mountain outside his Antelope Valley home. And I'm just going to let that sit there.
He can only get it up in the shadow of a mountain.
He was known for jerking his meat outside in front of his house in the shadow of a mountain.
That's, I think we can say that he's like a Wiccan, right? That's like a Wiccan rule of horniness there.
It's a druid ritual, yeah.
Yeah, it's to
Yeah,
ensure that the
exactly.
spring will return to the earth. That's normal stuff. I don't know why everybody's laughing.
It's to ensure that he'll be a...
Because he's known for it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
The act.
So, back in 1892, he's a deputy sheriff or a constable, they also called him. A team of horses of a man named Edgar J. Sharpless are stolen by a young man named George Juergens. So the actual sheriff is Gibson, and Gibson puts out a $150 reward for the capture of this horse thief. And as you guys may or may not know, I imagine you do, I mean, horse thievery was probably the worst crime you could commit in the eyes of an old Westerner. I mean, murder, assault, all of those things paled in comparison to stealing a man's horse or horses, because you were functionally stealing his transportation and his livelihood. Like if you took a man's horses in the Old West, you were stealing his car, his house,
it's
and his
Grand
ability
Theft
to work.
Equine.
Yes, Actually, I have heard that that's the next thing that Rockstar is coming out with. Is it's like a synthesis of GTA and Red Dead, where like you can just run people over with your horse, murder them. I know about this from Deadwood. I am aware that horse thieving was a big problem.
Yeah. So here's what happens. Old John A. Jerky Johnson is hanging out on the side of the road when he happens to see a young man driving a team of horses very quickly. And he thinks, those horses seem to fit the description of the ones that were stolen. So he hops on his horse and starts taking off galloping after the running horses. And it takes, the guy's driving so fast, it takes Jerky, even on one galloping horse, a while to catch up. Well, apparently the way to identify a horse is by their forelocks, by their front feet. So when he catches up to the wagon, he's alongside and he can't really tell if these are the horses or not. But he manages to flag the guy down, and the guy stops and he says, "Hey, I lost my mule. It wandered off in this valley. Would you mind helping me look for it?" And it's just a bald-faced lie. And the guy's like,
mule stuff this ep.
Yeah,
This is a mule-heavy town.
Only 13 years. This could have been 6-year-old Helen Gookins' eventual cougar mule.
I have to imagine that in the background of this story, she's like riding another mountain lion through the desert, just like leaping over canyons.
So the guy says, no, sorry, can't help you. Like the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, he looks at his pocket watch and he's like, I'm late, and he takes off with his horse team again. Well,
this is classic cop shit, man. I see a team driving fast. guess I gotta get up in their business and cause a problem. Like,
right, he's profiling him for sure. So
you're going too fast on your horses. Jerky.
Yeah, you take that horse team to the German Autobahn, asshole. What do you think you're doing? This is America.
God, what is he, a Maryland trooper? Get out of here.
So the team takes off again. Well, Jerky takes off after the team again. And this time he manages to outstrip the guy, and he gets in front of the the horse team, because the guy was starting from a stop this time, so he could actually really go faster when galloping, and he stops in the middle of the road. So he forces the horse team to stop, and now he's in front of the horses so he can see their forelocks, the fur, the hair around their hooves, and he does recognize them, and he's able to positively identify them as the horses of this sharpless man whose horses were stolen.
Okay, so just this once profiling worked, but this is a one-off.
Yeah.
Well, it's because he'd focused his abilities by doing all that jerking in the shadow, and I think that's really, he's drawing on that power.
Okay, so this is a special case.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like just this once a young white guy was profiled, because George Jerkins. So maybe that's just a little bit of universal
time
justice
in America.
Yeah.
First, last, and only.
Yeah.
Oh, so he draws his Winchester, Jerky, and he says, "Stand down in the name of the law. I'm Constable Jerky Johnson, and those horses are stolen." At which point, George Jerkins leaps down off the wagon, like basically screams, "You'll never take me alive!" and goes off sprinting through the field until he comes upon another horse, like somebody's horse grazing out there, and he hops on this horse. So now he's gone from stealing a team of horses to yet another horse. Well, the horse he hops on is not at all used to being ridden by humans, and so it starts bucking him crazy like a bucking bronco. Meanwhile, Jerky is caught up again, and he's like, "I told you, boy, freeze, I can shoot you. I've got the drop on you. I've got my Winchester out." In other parts of his life, when Jerky says he has his Winchester out, it means something else entirely.
Sure, yeah.
So he takes off on this. He manages to get control of this bucking bronco, and he takes off again. Well, Jerky gallops after him, and at this point, Jerky also looses his faithful bloodhound on the chase. And it seems like Juergens may have gotten away, except that Juergens all of a sudden comes across this is like the tale of 3 sets of horses. He's galloping on this bronco that doesn't want him. He comes across like a herd of grazing horses that's thick enough that he basically has to skid to a stop, like that illusion-tricked cop in the second season of Stranger Things, like, and he goes flying off the horse. So
as I said earlier, Grand Theft Equus. Here we are.
Absolutely.
I would make fun of this guy more, but this was also the time in America where you could go like one town over and just completely disappear and be like, "Oh, my name is Francois and I'm from France and no one will recognize me. There's no newspaper."
Exactly.
So it's not a terrible plan.
No, it's
keep
not.
running.
So young Juergens gets chucked off the horse. Now he's on the ground. So now the bloodhound is coming to get him, and here's where Juergens is going to lose your sympathy, because Jerky's already bearing down on him. Juergens draws his pistol and he shoots the dog dead.
No.
Boom. We're all off the Team Juergens.
Yes. Well,
I don't care how much he's jerking in the shadow of a mountain. This is unforgivable.
Well, no, it wasn't Jerky that did this. It's the guy Jerky was chasing. He shoots Jerky's dog dead.
Yes, the hand lotion guy shot the cop's dog.
Yes. By the way, I was already off Team Juergens. I prefer a vino for what it's worth. Just a vino. If you want to sponsor the show, we're here.
I don't know if a vino is going to sponsor the show about jerking off dolphins. No offense.
Well, hey, it's a perfect use for their product, is it not?
It's true.
No.
It's a good pitch. Hear me out. We're going to jerk off.
Just hear me out.
When
We
your
have two
dolphin
stories.
gets dry.
We found that your oatmeal-based moisturizer holds up surprisingly well in salt water.
Oh my god. Oh man. So back to the story just real quick. So
If you insist.
again, Jerky's got the drop on Jergens. Or Jergens, there's a drop of Jergens and on okay. You gotta
There's
stop with this.
there's something there.
There's a collaboration waiting to happen.
Yeah. And
Jergens, join me in the shadow of this mountain for a little jerking.
So, even though obviously Jerky Johnson is really pissed that Jergens just killed his dog, he does have a little more self-control than, I guess, Ellen F. Gookins and John Wick, and he doesn't actually want to kill the kid. 'Cause
He's
it's
a
young
lawman.
Yeah, and so he's like, look, George, my rifle's trained on your head. I've got the drop on you. Please, for the love of Pete, let's take you. I'm gonna take you in now. And George is like, no, you know what? Just kill me. Just kill me now. I'd rather die than go to prison. And Jerky's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. At which point, George, you gotta, give him credit for his stick-to-itiveness. Stands up and starts sprinting away as best he can on his probably injured leg from getting thrown from a horse, just to try to run away in a last-ditch attempt, like a guy stealing a fire engine, to try to escape the police. So what Jerky does is like, I really don't want to shoot this kid. And so Jerky chases after him and tackles him and takes him down and arrests him. And so he finally gets the guy.
What is it about Neenach that is breeding these people who just won't stay down? Like the people, the lions,
Yeah.
give up.
You got a double tap.
And so he gets taken in, and my favorite little coda on this story is when the newspaper is describing new prisoner George Jergens. It said, he's quite a young man who seems like he was well raised.
Wow.
Boy.
So we've got a dog-murdering horse thief described as well raised. So I'd like to know that what counts for poorly raised in Neenach. Can you tell me that?
What this tells me is that American cops might have changed, but American newspapers certainly have. Like, if there is a young white criminal, they will do absolutely anything they can to be like, he's a nice boy.
Yeah, they haven't yet.
He had a bad night. It certainly couldn't be the fault of the guy who shot a dog in the face.
Right, he was terribly bullied.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
mentally unstable, as opposed to if it's not a white guy, it's just like in prison with you. We all knew this was going to happen. Yeah, it's horrible.
Gosh, wow. Well raised. What an excellent
He was a
euphemism.
well-raised young man, yeah. So that means in Neenach, if you're poorly raised, and we already said horse thievery was basically the worst thing you can do. So if you can be a well-raised dog-murdering horse thief, I guess you're basically just an open cannibal in a bib with human brains on the front of your chest, like running around town. Is that a poorly raised Neenacher? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, but he was polite to the sergeant on duty at the jail, so what a sweet
Right.
little peach.
He had great manners when he wasn't murdering dogs and stealing horses. Just wonderful. I mean, I'd like to have him over for dinner as long as I didn't own horses or dogs. That was the newspaper's takeaway. Katelyn, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about lizard people. I love the show. It's so funny. And I just wanted to hear a little bit about what was the genesis of the show for you? What's your favorite thing about it? What do you hope listeners sort of experience or take away when they listen? But first, tell us a little bit about why lizard people? How was this show created? What was the moment where it was born out of your head, like Athena cracking her way out of that asshole Zeus's skull?
It was exactly like that. Lizard people is the goddess of war.
Yeah,
And,
war and learning, I think.
Sure, yeah, and the hunt. Yes, and I'm the king of the
Yes.
gods. Yeah, I was just, my friend Ryan was like looking to produce some podcasts, Ryan Middledorf, a wonderful man. And he was like, would you want to do a
member
podcast?
of J.R.R. Tolkien's magical world.
Yes,
Ryan
of course.
Middledorf.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the smartest of hobbits, my dear friend Ryan Middledorf.
It's not a dwarf, a hobbit. Glad we cleared that up. Okay.
Oh yeah, no. Spelled
That's
DORF, so
right,
it's
and,
an easy
this
mistake.
is for all our D&D people, by the way. We're casting no aspersions at little people. These are all nerd jokes. Okay, so Ryan Middledorf, go ahead.
Okay, so my friend Ryan and I were talking. He was like, would you ever want to do a podcast? And I was like, well, it's 2015 and conspiracy theories are on the rise, and I think it would be fun to talk about that. And I'm sure those won't become a major problem in American politics anytime soon. And a really uncomfortable thing to talk about.
Won't become truer than truth, yeah.
Yeah. And so then we just started recording. And the reason it is called Lizard People is because I feel like that is the type of conspiracy theory that I really love, where it is like extremely stupid and impossible to prove. And the point of it is not proving it. The point of it is it resonates on some level that is just beyond truth with people.
Yes. Everyone has a pet conspiracy theory. Oh, and I forgot to mention when we talked about me being a real-life lizard person who actually owns lizards, I wanted to give a shout-out to my lizards. I didn't mention their names on your show. So my
oversight, I'm sorry.
Yeah. My veiled chameleon is named Mando because the veiled chameleon has what is referred to as a helmet, and we're giant Mandalorian fans, so I named him Mando. Of course, he's sort of the least brave, stoic animal you've ever met, so there's a little humor there. And then the bearded dragon is Beardita. So there you go.
Very cute. And Beardita is a
Zevon's
lady.
been dying to talk about his veiled chameleon, in quotations, this whole season.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jerky Zevon.
It is a phenomenal
Thank
show.
you. Thank you so much.
Really love it.
Yes. And like I told Zevon when we were talking conspiracy theories, you were like, I don't know if I want to do any like ones where people actually get hurt. And I think like I've drawn a hard line in the sand of like, if someone is harassing grieving people over this conspiracy theory, we are absolutely not going to cover it on a comedy podcast. It's just the ones that are like, all celebrities wear wigs, or like the moon is hollow and full of Nazis. Like
Right, of course. And the way we try to mitigate that on this show is by picking stories that hopefully happened long enough ago that there's not a grieving family or victim out there to feel like we're making fun of their distress. But we may or may not always succeed. It's not always easy being funny in 2021.
Yeah, what a curse.
Yeah. Back to the
We're the real oppressed minority comedians.
Yeah. Back to not real problems. The year is 1893, and Mr. and Mrs. Nat Samuels and their 10-year-old daughter hitch up the wagon and head out on the trail from San Diego toward the Antelope Valley. When they get to Glendora, that's when the adventure begins. So let's jump into the story of An Adventurous Couple. So these people are just wonderful. They hitch up their wagon in San Diego and they head out on the trail. And this is 1893. We're now 1 year after Jerky Johnson chased down the horse thief. So it's legit. It's the legit Old West. I mean, the height of Deadwood, North Dakota was 1988. When that Wonder Woman movie is set. No.
So Wonder Woman's cruising through a mall on her lariat of truth.
Yes, exactly. That's why she carried the lariat, because she had to rope cattle in her spare time. No, so 1888 is the height of, say, Deadwood, North Dakota. So when we're saying 1893, it's still the legit Old West. So they hop on their cart drawn by horses and they head out to San Diego. And when they get to Glendora, their cart breaks down. And what they do is they steal a new cart from a man named Klein, and then they hop back in the cart and they head out again. Well, what's going to quickly become clear in these stories is that this mother, father and 10-year-old daughter were essentially like an expert kleptomaniac vaudeville act.
They're like a family con man scheme.
Cool.
It's like the cartoon where the tornado comes through, like the Tasmanian devil or whatever, and either destroys or steals everything in its path. This family, that's what they did on their way to the Antelope Valley. They literally stole everything that was not nailed down.
Oh, I love an old-timey con man story.
Yeah.
The stakes are so low. It's like, oh, and he made off with $4.50. Like,
Well, you
similar
know,
time.
these people actually raised the bar on that. But so listen, I don't know what if they had their 10-year-old dressed up like Shirley Temple with curls and a foofy dress stand
That's
out.
what I'm imagining.
In the trail pouting, or how they did it. But they get to a place called Mint Canyon, which is basically modern Santa Clarita, where they happen upon the J. Kitchen Line's bee farm. Kitchen Line is not home, and they literally steal everything not nailed down to his blankets. So we're talking his pots,
Wow.
his pans, his his underwear. Like if he had a pair of those like European too small Speedos, they were taking those. They took his beehives.
I can't believe the bees didn't
How do
defend
you
him.
take a beehive?
Yeah, bees have no loyalty. I would like to think that if I owned a bee farm and I had a bunch of bees, I could be like, sick them. And they would like, get the guy.
Yeah, well, maybe they just walked. Maybe Mr. Samuels walked up smoking 2 cigars at once, calmed the bees down, grabbed the hives, chucked them in the back. So now they've got a wagon with just like this insane cartoon menagerie, right? They've got beehives, they've got pots and pans, they've got wagon wheels. It's like a surreal game of the Oregon Trail, and here they are in this cart.
From San Diego to Glendora. What a shitty leg of the Oregon Trail.
Well, right, and.
Just nothing but like fast food restaurants. Like
Oh boy, yeah, no water, lots of snake bite.
just up the 5. Ugh.
Yep. And so then they get to Fairmont, where they manage to steal the shotgun of a man named R.J. Whitten. Now this, I would love to know how this happens. So you roll up in your wagon full of beehives, underwear, and whatnot, and there's a guy with a shotgun trained on you, and you're so good at however you flim flam with your little girl and your family act and whatever else that you manage to rob him. But not only that, you rob him of the shotgun that he has in his hands, and then you take what the paper describes as diverse, spelled without an E on the end, other items. So
The Shakespeare way, divers.
Yes, diver. Or you know what? These people were so good at stealing everything. Maybe they actually stole like a couple abalone divers, for the suits and the shell cracking
We
knives.
don't know.
So,
Oh no, not our divers. Jack, Mike. Oh,
so
Take
so
my
now-
bees, but not the divers.
you can take my bees.
So now they've got Jacques Cousteau in the back in one of those old-timey Martian helmets. They've got several hives of honeybees. They've probably got a couple of chickens, maybe a small calf. I mean, again, anything that was not nailed down is packed into the back of this wagon like it's a, Mary Poppins bag of bizarre wonders. And they head back on down the road. And they're getting away with all of this beautifully when, where should they land but Neenach, California?
Where else?
Oh, I didn't see it going there. I actually sort of genuinely did forget that this was all about one town. It's like, and then they went to Oregon? What?
Yeah. And then they went over the land bridge from Alaska to Russia?
Yeah, right. It's
right.
early in my defense. Neenach, wow, we're back.
So, of all the Neenachers that a bunch of kleptomaniac cartoon people with a cart full of beehives could have possibly run into, who do you think they ran into, folks?
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh my god. If it's
Say it for
Helen,
me,
I'm going to
Zevon.
lose my shit.
Say it for me.
No effing Helen way.
They ran into none other than standing outside of his house in the shadow of a mountain, jerking his meat, Deputy Sheriff Jerky Johnson.
Okay,
Hell
Helen
yes.
was probably off like punching a rattlesnake to death. She was busy.
Well, Is that a euphemism?
Yes, it's a euphemism for punching a garter snake to death.
She had garters on. Now my interest is piqued. That's why they call them garter snakes. They actually wear like sexy, foofy lingerie.
I have heard that. Yeah,
they
it's like
slither through the
they
grass.
just sort of have natural, like, sexy stocking markings on their skin.
So, as you might imagine, I'm sure this family made like a serious and talented con family play for John A. Johnson's racks of jerky, but this is a legend of the Old West we're talking about, and he wasn't having it. So he ripped open their wagon.
Is that a euphemism?
He was
Come
like,
on, Katelyn, get your mind out
No,
the
I'm
gutter.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm the one who brought that filth into this podcast. I apologize.
and like the guards at the border when you're coming back from Mexico, they always like to say like, "Where are you coming from? Where are you going to?"
Sure.
And if you're like, "Oh, we're headed to Colorado," or something, they're like, "Why are you coming this way then?" So Jerky was like, "Where are you coming from?" And they're San Diego, and he's like, "Okay, well, you're about 160 miles north of San Diego now, and you've got a cart full of beehives, some other man's Speedo, some chickens, a shotgun, some wagon. Like, is this really all your stuff?" And sure enough, they weren't able to pull the wool or the coyote skins or whatever you want over old Jerky's eyes, and that is
Can't
the
fool
story
Jerky.
of how the adventurous couple was finally their villainous crime spree was put to an end.
I
Wow,
can't
I was really
believe-
holding out to see if they invented the key party, but this is even better.
Not that kind of adventurous. In these modern days where you can't just steal a man's beehive and run off, you got to find your own adventure.
Well, the next time I go to a key party, I'm bringing a shotgun, a Speedo, and looking for a girl with a beehive. Like the 60s.
I think you're gonna have a weird night.
Oh, I think so. I've had a lot of those.
I've had weirder.
Oh, you have.
Coyote jerky.
Yes.
I can't believe you managed to connect the second act to the third act. Wow, what a satisfying narrative.
Oh, thank you so much. You're too kind. How can, and I'm sure everybody listening to this show already knows the answer to this because your show is huge and ours is fledgling, but tell people how they can find Lizard People, how they can find you, social media, like where can we get more of the brilliant Katelyn Hempstead?
Lizard People, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's the one with the cute little cartoon of two little lizard people as the logo. I'm on Twitter at Katelyn Hempstead, but no D because my name is too long for that rude app. And just, support your local podcaster. That's my plug.
And
When they
please
say
do
that Patreon is available, give them $1. They're working hard to entertain you, baby.
Hell yeah,
Yes,
they
indeed.
are. And they're also such kind and wonderful people. Like I said, I couldn't have had more fun joining you. Thank you again. And so now we're really going to quickly move on to our shameless self-promotion section, which
Hell
is
yeah.
our 5-star review of the week. This is from a reviewer named Another Happy Writer. So we know right away that the person is a liar, because have you ever met a happy writer in your life?
Certainly not.
Maybe Beverly
Certainly
Cleary, rest in peace.
Oh, Ramona, what a wonderfully complex character. So Another Happy Writer, 5 stars, says, like everyone, I've been trapped at home. But thanks to this podcast, I get a free weekly trip to where I truly belong. Among the desert freaks, fearing for my life, shepherded by master freak Zevon O. I just have to say, I'm so flattered. Master freak makes me sound like I'm like I'm training an elite squad of desert freak Navy SEALs. Yes, Master freak.
Or you're like the guy with the top hat at a carnival, just like barkering them all in.
or both. I've got a carnival hat, and I'm like, if you can't take it, you go ring that bell at the end of that bleached cow carcass and get the hell out of here.
It's a complicated metaphor, but I don't mind it.
All right, well, so thank you, another happy writer. Thanks for listening to the show. Everybody, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. It really does help. That's our show. For Sean Christensen and Brendan Hubbard from Criminal Content, on-air producer Adam Volrich, and of course, the brilliant, hilarious Katelyn Hempstead. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a delight.
Thanks, Landon.
Absolutely. I'm your host, Zevon Odelberg, and this has been Kinda Murdery.
This is Kinda Murdery, Ghost Towns of the Mojave Desert, presented by Criminal Content. You can find us online at kindamurdery.com and on all social media at Kinda Murdery. Email us at contact@kindamurdery.com. Listen to us on all your favorite podcasting apps: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Google, and more. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends about the show.